That's it. Ah, yeah.
Yeah, because you're bleeding, Kieran, but trying to keep it so that... Okay.
In this next news story, a dangerous driver who crashed a stolen motorcycle in the middle of a busy town centre, narrowly missing pedestrian and children, has been jailed. Kieran Parker was riding a stolen Kawasaki motorbike in Pelton when he was spotted by a police motorcyclist at around 10:30 in the morning on April the 2nd. Ignoring the officer's blue lights and demands to stop, Parker sped off, riding at speeds of around 60 miles per hour in a 30-mile-per-hour zone and without a helmet. The 20-year-old was pursued by the officer as he continued to ride dangerously, overtaking vehicles at junctions, driving over the speed limit, riding on the wrong side of the road, and over a pedestrian crossing when the crossing light was on green. As he approached Chesterley Street Town Centre, he failed to give way at a junction, forcing a bus to stop before riding down a pedestrianised section of Front Street in excess of 40 miles per hour. Parker then lost control and came off the bike, which skidded down the road, narrowly missing a mother and her children who were out shopping. Parker sustained serious injuries and was taken to hospital treatments, and a police investigation was launched.
Go ahead. Yeah, I can see this vehicle which is taking off. Trained authorised suitable vehicle. Road to dry. Traffic is light. It is currently medium risk as the rider doesn't have a helmet. It is one up. It's not known to be. It's still failing to stop. Speed is 80. It's a medium risk overtake. Medium risk overtakes. Approaching a roundabout. Stand by. High risk on the side of the road. And we are Chestnut Street Town Centre through the High Street.
So officers confirmed the bike had been stolen from a backyard of a house in Stanley just hours earlier. A drugs test also found Parker had coke and cannabis in his system at the time of collision. He was later charged with several offences, including aggravated vehicle taking, dangerous driving, driving otherwise than in accordance with a licence, driving without insurance, and driving while under the influence of drugs. Parker pleaded guilty to the offences and appeared at Durham Crown Court, where he was sentenced to 14 months. Detective Constable Michelle Leonard from Durham Constabulary Series Collision Investigation Unit said, "This was an incredibly dangerous piece of riding from Parker. He drove recklessly at very high speeds through residential areas, often on the wrong side of the road, before crashing the bike in the middle of a busy town centre. It is a miracle nobody was seriously injured, or worse, killed." They said, "We welcome the sentence that has been handed to Parker, and I hope it sends a clear message that driving dangerously without a licence and under the influence of drugs can have catastrophic consequences, and that those who choose to do so will be brought to justice." And in this next news story, a people smuggling gang who crammed a Vietnamese woman into the glove box of a Vauxhall Vectra in a bid to sneak her into Britain have been jailed after their sprawling criminal network was brought crashing down. The woman was discovered curled up inside a secret compartment carved out of the dashboard in June 2022, sparking a major probe that eventually unmasked a ruthless trafficking operation stretching across Europe. The gang, led by 43-year-old Kurdish-born barber Mukhlis Jamal Hamadaman from Stockport, used crudely adapted vehicles to ferry illegal immigrants into the UK. Border officers later also uncovered forged identity documents, £6,000 in cash and 20,000 illicit cigarettes. Hamadamin, a UK citizen who smuggled himself into Britain back of a lorry in 2002, ran the operation even after being arrested by charged in Spain. He and 7 accomplices were sentenced for their roles in the conspiracy, which ran between June 2022 and February 2024. Manchester Crown Court heard how Hamadamin oversaw a network that helped migrants, mainly from Iraq and Vietnam, travel into the EU on fake documents before reaching Britain via route through Malaga, Dublin and Belfast. Prosecutor Dan Calder said Hamad Amin's gang created and supplied false EU identity papers and passports, meeting clients in a Malaga Easy hotel before sending them to the UK where they would submit asylum claims. One of the most shocking moments in the case came when a Vauxhall Vectra driven by gang member Joseph Cadet was stopped in Dover. Border Force officers found a woman hidden in a custom-built compartment beneath the dashboard. The vehicle examiner said the airbag, heating and aircon had been ripped out and fuses were shifted to make room for the woman, with the entire job taking up to 12 weeks to build. He said the dangerousness of these modifications perhaps needs no explanation, calling the adaptations highly dangerous and warning they could lead to injury, death in a crash. Following this discovery, Hamad Amin recruited Redar Curtis and his wife, Emily Etherington, into the gang. The couple stooped to using a child as a human shield by placing them in a front passenger seat while smuggling an illegal immigrant from France. Phone messages later revealed Curtis had told his wife don't stop until she returned home, with the smuggled person warning they wouldn't be paid otherwise. In another case, a third Vauxhall Vectra was intercepted in Dover with yet another hidden passenger. This time the driver was gang member Dalawa Omar. With border pressure increasing, the group shifted tactics. Instead of stuffing people into vehicles, they began producing fake EU documents to help individuals fly from Spain to Dublin and into Britain via Northern Ireland. Mr. Calder said Hamad Amin personally aided at least 14 people to enter the country illegally in this way, and his financial records revealed an £18,000 cash deposit into his account during the conspiracy. Another gang member, Khalis Akram Jabbar, was paid around £1,500 to fly alongside two Iraqi women using fake documents. Prosecutors accepted that one of the women may have been his wife. At court, Hamad Amin's lawyer claimed his client's role was modest in comparison to the wider problem of people trafficking. He described the Vauxhalls as crudely modified and presented a letter from Hamad Amin's daughter who said her father was a role model to her. So the judge told the gang this was a cynical, highly organised conspiracy to exploit illegal immigrants and expose them to death and or horrific injury for financial gain. So Mukhlis Jamal Hamad Amin, he was jailed for 13 years. You got his brother Mohammed Jamal Hamad Amin was sentenced to 18 months. You got Yassin Jalal Mohammed, he got 38 months in prison. Dalawa Omar got 3 years and 1 month. You got Emily Etherington, she got a 2-year suspended sentence. Her husband Redar Curtis got 4.5 years. Joseph Cadet got 4 years and 2 months. Khalis Akram Jabbar was jailed for 2 years. The Minister for Border Force Security and Asylum, Dame Angela Eagle, said this case shows the ruthless tactics of criminal gangs who smuggle people through Europe and into the UK. They have no regard for human life and exploit vulnerable individuals solely for profit, putting them in incredibly dangerous situations. Said our investigators have worked tirelessly to track down this gang, gather critical evidence and bring them to justice, and our investigators' efforts means that this gang's operation will be dismantled, their profits slashed, and we are delivering this government's plan for change to protect our borders, disrupt people smuggling networks and end the exploitation of vulnerable individuals coming into the UK.